Hello everyone! Surely we've all done weird or even crazy things at least once in our lives. For example, hitchhiking, skydiving, or maybe skipping an important conference or accidentally drinking spoiled milk. Ugh, don't do that. Anyway, each person knows their limits, but the people in today's video are simply amazing. Not many people would dare to repeat their deeds, and that's not surprising because they're unique. And today, you're going to learn everything about these brave people. King of Sting. There's nothing pleasant about insect bites, and sometimes they can even be dangerous to your health. But there is one man in the world who is willing to tolerate these bites voluntarily. And not because he likes pain, but because it's his job. Meet Justin Schmidt, an American biologist and entomologist who specializes in Hymenoptera. He became famous as an expert on insect bites from all over the world. In a famous experiment, the entomologist allowed many insects to bite him in the name of science and even devised his own pain index. Thus, first-level bites are considered the weakest, and their effect does not last for more than 5 minutes. But level 4 pain is unbearable, and you have to endure it for hours. In addition, the biologist graphically described the sensations of each bite, sometimes even too graphically. You can easily get a phobia of wasps just from reading the results of his research. Throughout Schmidt's long career, in his own words, he has been stung more than 1,000 times by 150 different species. Based on this extremely painful experience, Schmidt wrote a book about stinging insects, where he not only shared his impressions, but also described each of the insects in the experiment. According to him, insects try to avoid attacks because they can lose their stinger, their legs, or part of their wings. So they sting humans only when they're desperate because other methods to scare them don't seem to work. The scientist claims that insect bites help him better understand their behavior. And even though it's not pleasant, Schmidt loves his job with all his heart. 2 months in a barrel. When talking about persons living in a barrel, people usually remember Diogenes, the ancient Greek philosopher. This famous character lived in a huge clay barrel, used his own cloak to cover himself, and generally enjoyed impressing people in different ways. However, Vernon Kruger's story and motifs were a little different. This South African resident climbed into a 500-liter wooden barrel 25 meters above the ground and sat there for over 2 months to break a record. However, the previous record holder was also Kruger. In 1997, he sat in the same barrel for 64 days, and it all started as a friendly joke. Someone offered Vernon to break the world record for sitting in a tree. However, after a little research, Kruger discovered that an Indonesian man had already broken the record by sitting in a tree for 28 days. So he abandoned that idea, and then someone came up with the barrel idea. This record also existed, and it was 54 days, but Kruger managed to beat it. The story could have ended there, but instead, he decided to repeat his strange feat after more than 20 years, and all in spite of the cramps and back pain. No visitors are allowed in the barrel, but he can wave and shout at passersby. Secondly, according to Kruger, his body has adapted to living in the barrel. He sleeps at night and exercises in the morning. Of course, he can only dream of running, but he can always wave his hands. Thirdly, he doesn't have to worry about food. It's delivered directly by different restaurants, put in a bucket, and lifted into the barrel. Even if he wanted to, he cannot go down on his own, as he would break the record conditions. In fact, he was put in the barrel both times by helicopter. And therefore, he must return to land in the same way. High heel surfing. Anyone who's tried wearing high heels and walking in them knows how hard it is. Even standing in them is challenging. In any case, it's not an easy task at all. Of course, it's a matter of habit, and humans can learn anything. But what Maud Lacar does is incredible. She's a professional surfer and model. Maybe that's why she managed to combine 2 incompatible activities. Yeah, Maud surfs in heels, and they are quite high, about 7 centimeters. Also, the girl is wearing a cocktail dress, but this did not prevent her from riding the waves effortlessly, as if nothing unusual was happening. With her unique performance, Maud wanted to prove that surfing is not just a sport, and that female surfers can be attractive and incredibly talented at the same time. Did she succeed? Everyone has a different opinion. But one thing is for sure, women can do anything, even surf in high heels. So if you're passionate about sports, follow your dreams and don't let anything or anyone stop you. Barefoot around the world. There are many strange travelers in the world who like to challenge themselves. But Vladimir Nassin stands out even among them. He's been traveling the world for more than 20 years and has no permanent place of residence. Nassin has no house or car, he sleeps in different places, but the most important thing is that he makes all his trips barefoot, regardless of the weather or the season. This man has walked over 142,000 kilometers without shoes. According to Nassin, who is now over 70 years old, boots, sneakers, and other inventions are simply an obstacle. Through his bare feet, the traveler feels the connection with the earth and thinks that this is very beneficial for his health. And Nassin has walked this way both in the Sahara and in the snows of the Chukotka. He claims that walking barefoot is not very uncomfortable up to a temperature of -5 degrees, but we still do not advise you to try it. Vladimir Nassin decided to walk around the world when he lived in the Soviet Union, and he managed to explore all 15 republics of the USSR before the borders were opened. To date, Nassin has visited more than 150 countries, and everywhere he tries to live humbly. The traveler spends no more than $1 a day on food and can eat 1 kilogram of rice in 2 days. At the same time, he needs virtually no medical help except for malaria vaccinations. And once he had to treat a wound on his leg. And by the way, even though Nassin is wandering around the world all the time, he is married and even has 4 children, not to mention many grandchildren. 637,000 bees. Probably no one wants to attract the interest of bees. After all, we know that these insects not only provide honey, but there are people who voluntarily attract bees and even let them sit on their faces.
Yes, do anything! Help me! Run for safety, I'll lead them away!
But they're not followers of Justin Schmidt, who was mentioned earlier. This strange pastime is known as bee bearding and has been spreading since the 19th century. The idea is quite simple, though frightening. A person places a bee queen on his body, after which thousands of flying insects come to their queen. At this point, it's important not to move and not to scare the bees, because if they get nervous, they will surely sting you. And this amount of bee venom can be fatal even to an allergy-free person. The world record for the biggest bee beard belongs to Ron Ling Mang from China. The total weight of his bee mantle was 63.7 kilograms, and it took Ron Ling Mang 637,000 insects to set the record. The man spent 53 minutes and 34 seconds with the bees, a record no one would want to break. Skiing on a car. If you are a professional skier, it's difficult to find new challenges or achieve new incredible speeds. But one exception is skiing on the roof of a race car. We agree, it sounds like a very bad idea that won't end well at all. But in 1985, 2 American skiers, Sean Cridland and Kirsten Culver, set world records by skiing on race cars. Yeah, on the roof of a car. They say this method was originally used to teach skiers how to control their body under strong winds, but only training apparently seemed too boring to the athletes, so they decided to set one of the strangest world records. As a result, Culver reached a speed of 244 kilometers per hour, while Cridland reached 260 kilometers per hour. They were both helped by the legendary racer Rick Vesco. To this day, no one has been able to break both records. Unique pet. Some people love exotic pets. For them, owning a cat or dog is not as cool and unusual as owning a tarantula, or some kind of weird lizard, or a serval, or a giant leech. Or wait, what? A leech? Yeah, we're not kidding. At least one person in the world has leeches, not to use them as an ancient medicinal practice, but as pets. There's a video online of a huge leech drinking blood from a man's forearm, and not for medicinal purposes as you might suppose, but as part of his regular diet. Well, you know, like feeding your hamster, but instead of food, it's your own blood. Ugh. And judging by the size of the leech, this animal is really well fed. These are not the prettiest creatures. They grow depending on the amount of blood they drink, and some can reach up to 40 centimeters. It's not known where this leech lover and his beloved pet live, but apparently the video was filmed in Japan.